Hi there, and welcome back to my channel, Self-Love Synergy. If this is your first time, welcome. If you're returning, thank you. Welcome back. Thank you to all of my subscribers, and thank you to anyone who leaves a comment. I appreciate it very much, very, very much. We're up to 171 subscribers. That's incredible. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I've been so nervous about this YouTube channel because, like I say in many of my videos, I don't know what to say, how to bring this message to the world. So today I thought I would try to bring more understanding around everything, because the videos that I dropped, I don't know if people are putting it all together or not. I don't even know if I could put it all together, but I know it's coming from the same understanding. And for those who are the first time here, a little bit of my background is I had a grandfather who was a preacher man for the Christian religion, and he was authentic in his preaching. He wasn't he wasn't a hypocrite. He was very authentic. He didn't charge to be a preacher. And yeah, he made a very good imprint on me and had me, want to keep the faith in Jesus Christ. However, I grew up where I didn't go to church every Sunday because my grandfather lived out in the country and I was in a city, and I had another side of my family that, they had love and respect within the family. However, they didn't go to church as often as, my preacher man and my father's side of the family. However, again, they knew love and respect. And I just grew up and I've come into a whole lot of understandings. And it all stemmed from me thinking that, I'm going to tell you the truth, I thought I was going a little bipolar because I had a fear of hell, and I had a fear of God, and I had a fear of not being worthy and not being good enough, and it was driving me crazy. It really was. I think it was causing a mental illness, that something going off balance in me. And so I gave an ultimatum to God, and I asked God to reveal who and what he was, and I felt like I got the answer. And in a lot of my videos, I say that the answer I got is that God is love, unconditional love, divine love. And by love, I mean living one vibrational energy for all and with all. Okay, so that should keep you up to date. And for those who have heard my videos, I know you guys don't want me to keep on going on and on about it, but I'm not sure if I mentioned this. I know I mentioned that I had a dream about my grandfather, and I'm not sure if I mentioned this, that one of the thoughts when I woke up from that dream was I had this thought that said, as if it was my grandfather speaking to me, and he said to me, I taught Jesus Christ to my generation in a way that they can understand. Now it's time for you to teach Jesus Christ to your generation in a way that they can understand. Which I didn't understand what that was all about, but he kept repeating to me that Jesus is the light. So through the spiritual awakening, I've come to understand the word. When Jesus Christ first came to the earth, he was known to have been the word made flesh, and that was his first coming. Now I have this intuitive feeling that the second coming is about Jesus returning back to the Word. And the Word is a sacred vibration that creates and sustains all of life. In other words, the living one vibrational energy of all and for all. With all and for all. Sorry. So love. So Jesus Christ is now coming back the second time within an understanding of divine love. And I think it's time for that, because there's a lot of talk about a divine feminine energy, and what is that all about? Well, let me, I made up a little story. So this is just a story, okay? This is not the truth. This is just a story I made up to kind of help you understand, if I can speak the story. I don't know. I'm making it up. Okay, now, actually, the divine feminine, let me just tell it to you straight. The divine feminine and the divine masculine, they're two separate, not separate, but they're two energies within one energy. It's like electricity and magnetism. Electromagnetic energy becomes one. One goes into the other and produces the other, and then goes into the other and produces the other, and it goes in and out, and however it does. But the two forces come together as one. And when they come together as one, that is where the power is. That is the power to ignite the creation of the entire universe. Okay? Now, we don't know anything about this divine feminine. Well, the majority of us doesn't know. There have been people who have done some digging and researching, and I guess there are some ancient people of our time that did recognize this ancient or this divine feminine energy. And I think there even was a time where they worshiped a mother god instead of a father god because of this divine feminine energy. It is the energy force that takes good care of you. You know, it's both forces. This is my opinion, okay? Both force, and I understand this as I talk about it. So I think this is going to be the first time I ever said this. Both forces are consuming, okay? And the divine feminine energy consumes good, nutritious, whole foods, and, you know, all of nature. It respects nature, and it utilizes nature to bring in more life, to feed life more life in order to have everlasting life. Now, the divine masculine is the protector, the provider, perhaps, you know, the gardener or whatnot. It is the physical manifestation of things, and it is all good. And again, it comes through the will. It's the will. It's the protector again. But both are mature energies, and both energies make you feel safe. Okay? I think that's how I'm going to explain it today. But, you know, the more that I make these videos, the more that it's going to evolve. But I hope that you understand. So one energy is to take care. The other energy is to protect and preserve. How about that? And to provide and to prosper also, you know, because when you think of the male and female roles, you know, the mother is supposed to stay home and take care of the children while the father goes out in the fields and works and provides and protects the family. Well, same kind of energies, but one is divine masculine and one is divine feminine. And they both come together as one force, a force of divine intelligence that knows how to prosper and protect itself at the same time, to continuously prosper. And it does it by consuming, which is weird, because when you consume, you think that you're taking away. But this power, it takes in and it creates and it brings and it blossoms more. Okay, and again, this is my opinion. Okay, so how come we don't know about this? And the thing is, these two forces work within us. We call it logic and intuition. And with those two forces, we are able to figure out divine intelligence. And through that, humanity can create and prosper and make and grow and bloom and mature and keep on going. Okay, so how come we don't know about this? Well, first of all, I don't know if it's 100% true. It's just what I seem to have figured out of things. And let me tell you a story, okay? Because you know, there's a story in the Bible about Lucifer, who turned into the devil or Satan. Now, this is my version of it, okay? Once upon a time in a magical kingdom. Okay, this is just my story. All right, if you know, you think on it and you think, that's all I want you to do, okay? But it's gonna help you understand why I believe that we all need to save ourselves through the Christ consciousness, through Jesus Christ, through the Word, back into the vibration of living one vibrational energy with all and for all. Okay, so once upon a time, there was the divine masculine energy and the divine feminine energy, and they were personified. So it was like the king and the queen, or Father God and Mother God, and both of them worked together as one, came together as one to create the one true God of all. But both forces must come together as one. And through that force of coming together as one, they were able to create universes, you know, so beautiful, so grand, just beautiful. And each universe had planets and stars, and on the planets there was greenery, there was nature, there's water, there's fishes, there's birds, there's so many beautiful things, so many beautiful things. They also created angels, you know, that helped them go into the you know, they called it the 3D world. That's the world in which they created in. They created from another realm. Not sure, maybe 5D, I'm not sure. But the 3D came into the physical through these two energies coming together as one. And it was so beautiful. And one day, the divine masculine and the divine feminine, they're feeling so good over everything that they created. And the divine feminine, you know, said to the divine masculine, you know what? Why don't we create children? Why don't we create children in our image? And they can go into, you know, the planets, planet Earth. Let's just pick planet Earth. They can go onto planet Earth. It'll be a paradise for them. They can use their intelligence of their intuition and their logic, and they can figure out things, and they can evolve, and they could prosper, and they can create even more grander creations. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing, beautiful experience. Why not? Let's do it. And we can actually experience everything through them by seeing what it is that they create. How does that sound? The divine masculine was looking over at that divine feminine, who was looking real, real good, by the way. And he said, ooh, children. Okay, let's create some children. So they created children, and oh my goodness, were they happy and pleased, and they were beside themselves. I mean, the female was so beautiful, represented that divine feminine energy, knowing how to take care of herself and take care of her man. And the man, the divine, the masculine, he was so strong and rugged and willing to protect this divine feminine, or I should have called him the divine masculine. And well, they were all set. And they said, you know, this is going to be good. Now let's go tell the angels. So they called a meeting, and they got all the angels together, and they said, you know, divine masculine, thy father and I have done something so incredible. We created divine children, children made in our image, children that carry the divine love within them, the divine intelligence within them. And we would love for you all to help them with their manifestations on earth. We gave them the ability to create, to imagine, to focus, to grow, to mature, and to come up with great discoveries, great inventions, great art, great beauty, great engineering. They are going to be spectacular, and we need you to serve them. And well, the angels were like, yay, that's nice. All except for one angel named Lucifer. Lucifer was like, wait a minute, excuse me, objection. Yes, Lucifer, what is your objection? How come we're not your children? How come we can't just be your children? Why you gotta go and make new creations? I mean, they don't know anything. You're gonna have them not even knowing anything. They gotta evolve. How are they gonna? What are they gonna know? What? And then I gotta serve them? Are you kidding me? I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. No. Well, the divine masculine and the divine feminine, they were like, well, no. What do you mean, Lucifer? We're not asking you. We're kind of, commanding you to do that, because the creations are already here. We already planted them on earth. They're growing as we speak. So hopefully you can get in line with the rest of us, and it'll be a beautiful thing. Don't you worry about it. So, they dismissed all the angels, and the master plan was put in motion. And the plan was to have a continuation of everlasting life through the reproduction of human beings and all the other seeds seeded within the planet. Just abundance, growing, growth, prosperity, abundance, growing, growth, prosperity, and maturity. Maturity also came along with it. And by maturity, that means evolving. They would evolve from lessons learned through not doing something right the first time or the second time, and then figuring out how to do it right, and then growing and evolving from it so that they can keep building. Now, it was set in motion. However, Lucifer just couldn't agree with it. So he called some of his buddies over and he said, look it, I know Father God and Mother God, they good people, and they're geniuses, it's just, but you know how nice they are. I mean, or how good they are. They're always so good and loving and communicating and, always got to talk. And they just, they don't know nothing about violence, or temptation. What if those humans didn't do what they were intuitively programmed and logically programmed to do? What if they started getting jealous of one another? When the ego, because, Father God, Mother God said that they're going through an evolution, so they're going to hit a point where they're going to go into their egos. And what would happen if I went down there and started whispering sweet enough things into their ear, let's just say, give them what they really are desiring, like money, power, fame, Oh, they'll take the bait. Look, Father God, he gonna see these creations for what they are really about. And then he's gonna agree with me that I don't have to bow down to them. So I'm just gonna go down there. And they're like, well, You know, what do you mean? He goes, yeah, come on. It'll be fun. It'll be fun. Look at these guys. They want power so badly that they'll let you they'll let you possess their bodies in order to gain it. So you want to go down to planet Earth? I can make you a billionaire. I can make you a superstar. They'll worship these people. You'll tell them not to worship idols, but they'll still worship you. They'll still worship you like an idol anyway. Yeah, that's what they do in their egos. You know, if they're the greatest things ever created, they should be able to figure it out, right? I ain't gonna make them do anything. I'm just gonna whisper sweet nothings into their ears, and then they're gonna do it all themselves through their ego. So our hands are really clean. I mean, when we come back, what's God the Father gonna do? Talk to us? You know he's gonna take us back. You know he's all good. You know he's unconditional love. You know, so don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. He's the all-knowing. He should have already known this could happen, right? God should know. He gonna know. So let's go down there. Let's do it. Let's go down there. Have some fun. So Lucifer got a little army of angels. They busted out of there. They went straight down to planet Earth. And, just as the last one was about to leave, he said, well, I think we ought to tell Father God and Mother God what's up. What Lucifer is doing. I don't think I can't. I'm going to stay up here with the rest of I changed my mind. I'm just going to stay up here and, y'all go do that, okay? And they're like, okay, we're out. Bye. See ya. So that one angel, he went back to Father God and Mother God, and he told them what Lucifer was up to, what his plans were. Well, Mother and Father God, they were like, well, that Lucifer just got to test the waters. But that's okay. We did what we were supposed to do. They have our intelligence within them. They will figure out that Lucifer is lying to them. They're going to figure it out. They're going to be just fine. They are going to be just fine. So, time passed. Well, first it was going pretty good. Because like I said, the ancients, first of all, there was no Mother or Father God. It was the Word. It was the sacred vibration. They understood it to be a frequency, and they understood that the power was in the word, within language. So they had sacred languages where they spoke to each other, and they did it in a way that honored the sacred vibration of living one vibrational energy with all and for all. So there was no wars. It was peace. It was heaven, someone might even said it was like an Atlantis, a paradise where they just rose in their intelligence and they gained power and knowledge, and they were building smart cities and crystal palaces way, way before we ever did. However, something happened in the governing systems of that great city, of the great Atlantis, which was actually more the world than just a city. It was connected to other parts of the world, and they used pyramids as their World Wide Web, let's just say, at their ways of communicating to one another. And they understood the womb of God. So they understood the garden, and they understood nature and how all of that worked together. So they were doing real good. However, there came a time where they started choosing pharaohs and kings and queens and all that. And one Pharaoh, he had, he had right hand man, second hand man, and all these people working for him. They're like, Pharaoh, you got the power. You got the power. I don't know what they're talking about. This, the word or whatever that is. It's divine, sacred, vibration. You got the power. Shoot, whatever you say, the people bow down. They listen to you. They'll do whatever you say. We're building all of this because of you. You got the power. That Pharaoh was like, you think so? Yeah. Yeah, it's all you, man. All you. All you. And Pharaoh was like, you could be right. You could be right. It is all me. Huh, diggity. It sure is all me. It is all me, isn't it? Wow. When that happened, that's when the ego was born within the land. And that's when Satan was ready. Lucifer was ready. He was ready to get him. But by that time, he changed his name to Satan. And he said, okay, watch me. See, he was one whispering in the Pharaoh's ear in the beginning anyway, to get that Pharaoh to thinking it was his power. He said, you know what? Let me go and tell him he could rule the whole world. So then he went over to the Pharaoh, and Satan whispering in his ears through his yes man and no man, or yes man, He's like, King, let's go get some stuff. Let's go get some countries. Let's go. We got an army so good. We got weapons. No other people got weapons. We can go out there and we can have them bow down to you. All of them, everybody. You can be the Pharaoh of the whole world. Not just Atlantis, the whole world. What? Ain't nobody did that before. You'd be the first one in your family to ever conquer the whole world. Pharaoh liked the sound of that. That's when it all began. The wars, the conquering, the fighting, the bowing down, the worshiping gods and pharaohs and their idea of gods. And it started to be a mess. Everything started to become a mess because the people no longer honored nature, the womb of God. They only honored the intelligence of the Pharaoh. So they started to honor the brain more so, instead of the heart and the brain combined. Fast forward, and we go back to the kingdom of the divine masculine and the divine feminine. And they're seeing all of this go down, and they're like, uh-oh. We gotta remind the people who we are. What we're gonna do? Father God said, the divine masculine. He says, well, we're gonna have to bring the word into flesh and have the word in the flesh, go down in the flesh with the frequency. And as long as he shows up with the frequency, the people get it. The people get it. They're gonna get it. We know they're gonna get it. They're gonna self-correct. They got our intelligence. They're made in our image. But the divine feminine, she says, yes, but they're being told they're sinners. They're forgetting that they're made in our image, and they're being told that they're sinners. So okay, don't worry about it. We're gonna have this. The word is coming into flesh. He's gonna go down there, and he's going to save them from their sins. He's gonna help them evolve their egos. He's gonna help them humble them anyway. So that's what happened. They sent the word in the flesh. And the Word made flesh carried a certain frequency that contained the divine intelligence of both the divine masculine and the divine feminine working together as one. And he went all around the land and he taught the people. And the thing is, once you go into the 3D with this intelligence, then you are able to create and manifest and do things that people would think are magical or miraculous. And therefore, Jesus Christ was able to go down and turn water into wine, raise the dead, heal the sick. He had it going on because he knew how to operate within divine intelligence. He was able to carry a radiant light of electromagnetic energy, and anyone that comes into his presence and believes in him and his power was able to transfer that radiant light into them and all of their cells, and they were able to heal instantly. But the thing is, they were supposed to carry that frequency and maintain that intelligence and continue to live in a way in which that intelligence comes out of them and helps to continuously heal themselves and heal others too. But something happened where the people, they didn't quite get it. They ended up worshiping Jesus Christ as God. And that made the people think that what Jesus Christ was doing was only meant for Jesus Christ to do. And we couldn't do it. The people couldn't do it. So, now, it may have been because Satan might have gotten to the ears of the priests of the church. I don't know. Something happened where all of a sudden the people were being misled and not understanding that the divine consciousness, the spark, was within themselves and not just all around as a sacred vibration everywhere, but it was being carried and flowed through their own being. But whoever was keeping that a secret knew it. And so he used that to his advantage so that he could get the power of all the people directed to him as if he is the only one true God. And it made him be able to control and rule the world through money and power and fake light, counterfeit light and love, selfish love, a toxic love that can only come through your ego and not through your authentic self. And by ego, it is the immature ego, actually, the sinner. Because they believed the story. They had beliefs. They didn't have the knowing. They didn't know anymore. They only had the beliefs, and they're only following the beliefs of Satan, disguising himself as Father God. However, Jesus said he would return and finish this battle. He could see what was going on, how Satan fooled the world. The trickster tricked the world. But Jesus had to go back. And he said he would return. And Satan even got a hold of that. And he's been having humanity waiting on Jesus to return. Because still not knowing that Jesus is going to return the second time back as the word, as the actual sacred vibration of living one vibrational energy with all and for all. And the people have to align their mind, their brain and their heart into one mind, one understanding of knowing, and through evolution of being able to see how the world has become so corrupt. And even though everyone is supposed to be following religions of love, no one is truly loving anyone. They're not even loving themselves. And a lot of chaos, a lot of poverty, a lot of disease, a lot of hunger, a lot of mental illness, a lot of emotional illness, a lot of abuse, a lot of violence has come over humanity. However, if humanity will awaken and understand that we can't, 1 minus 1 equals 0, and we may be on the brink of extinction, on the brink of another civilization falling, because we can't get along with one another. But humanity is starting to wake up. There are people who are beginning to awaken and understand that we have to do something about our egos. We have to do something about us feeling that we are not one with nature or with a divine intelligence that is sustaining, creating, and maintaining all of life. But we're waking up slowly and surely. Everyone is starting to grow. They are starting to mature. They are starting to go through struggles and then deciding, I'm going to overcome this. They're getting information. A lot of people, like there's some people who are healing through nature and they're sharing their good news, and other people are listening, and other people are actually applying the knowledge of what they're hearing, and they're seeing miraculous results within them, and then they are sharing their information, and it is starting to do a movement where people are beginning to understand that there truly is a higher power, a higher intelligence that all of us can tap into. And in tapping into that intelligence, we can evolve and mature from our trained way of believing and thinking through fear and through an understanding that we have no power, and only the power was within God the Father, Jesus Christ, and not within us. Until we can evolve and to understand that indeed we do have the ability to think and to feel and to control our thoughts and our emotions, or at least choose what thoughts and emotions we want to feed on, we want to consume and absorb within our consciousness, our own intelligence. And by making the right choices to choose to believe in the right thoughts about ourselves and our abilities, we are able to start to transform ourselves. We are transforming and evolving our ego into the ally, what I like to call the ally, A-L-I, into allowing love in. Remember when you're younger and they had the cartoon of a little devil on one side and a little angel on the other side? I remember that on Fred Flintstones. Or I think Bugs Bunny too, you know. Well, that's the same thing. We have this inner dialogue that's always going on within us. And we have a negative way of talking to ourselves, which is that little devil. that little ego, immature ego. That's the immature ego, the one that thinks he's separate from everybody, and all he needs is himself. And that's kind of true, but not really. We got the ally over here, the angel, the one that says, well, you are responsible for your own life, that is for sure, but we are living life with all. And so it's best to understand how to cooperate, how to negotiate rather than war, how to love your enemy rather than fight him. And human beings are starting to understand that's true. It's less stressful when you're not trying to fight another person, emotionally, mentally, all that. It's so draining. And they're learning how to protect their peace. So therefore, they're understanding how to choose the right kinds of thoughts. They're understanding how to choose the proper words to speak. They understand that what they speak becomes. So they're starting to grow, mature, and one day, someday soon, they will triumph, just as the divine masculine and divine feminine predicted from day one. And that's my story. The end. I hope you're still with me. I hope you listen to it. And I hope you think about it. That, like I said, this is just a story that I just made up. But I think there could be a little truth in that. And so if you're interested in actually evolving your ego into the ally, if you're ready for that, then I want you to come back next time, because that's what I'm going to be talking about in the next video, or in a video coming up. It takes me a while to put them together to get that, but hopefully I'll start to flow better. I'll start to feel more comfortable in, what I'd like to share to the world. But yeah, that's all that I'll share with you today. I hope that you enjoyed the conversation. I hope you have a great night. And as usual, if you have a great night, guess what? I'm gonna have one too.